I guess it's 4 past and almost 5 past. So I think we can start kicking things off. The little notice that people are joining has started to slow down a little bit. So welcome, everyone. Around the world, we're so excited to have everybody here for our happy hour. It's been a bit since we've had a happy hour. I think the last one was in June. So we're super excited to come back after the summer, we'll call it summer recess, and show you some of the things we've been working on for this summer. It's been a very busy summer for all of us at Conquest. Like Apple launched the iPhone 15 to you all yesterday, we are going to do something even more exciting, and you don't even have to switch your cable. You don't need a USB-C cord for this podcast.
To the universal standard.
Whatever it is, it's already done for you. We've got all of that taken care of. So we're excited to have everybody here. And like many of the parents who are on here, I always have a picture of my wife and my kids and my wallet, just to remind me why I have no money. So after this happy hour, we'll be sending you out a wallet-sized picture of Stavro to remind you of why you'll have no money. So welcome everyone to the October through January launching. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to leave some things until October. We're going to do another happy hour in October. We're going to talk a little bit there about OP Season 3 in more detail. We're going to give you a preview about it here, but we're going to go into some significant launch around OP Season 3 and also the narrative campaigns that will begin in October. So we're looking at either the 13th or the 20th. We'll let you know the date shortly. The 13th might work well because I'll be visiting the team in Greece, so it might be fun to do a happy hour where we're all in one room. We'll see. I don't know if everybody else wants that. So we'll see how that works out. But that will come in October. Today, Leo's going to kick us off with a special look at 3 armies. Just 3. So, if they're not your 3, you can now try to guess which 3 they are. But we're going to do some hanky-panky.
Well, yes. We're going to talk about some really exciting stuff, and we're just very excited about what's coming. So now, so most of you would have known that there is a big update, all right, for rules coming. This, you know it from Discord conversations, you know it from engaging with us through the rules email, right, on Facebook and so on. And so today we're going to actually talk about 2 major things. One is certain updates for particularly 3 factions. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what is the future of tournament play when it comes to scenarios and OP. So we put a lot of effort into refining our scenarios for organized play in this update, right? And if you're familiar with tournament play, then you know how important these scenarios are and why they're so important for us to solidify the foundation, right, of the campaign, of the tournament spot. Too many things I'm working on at the same time. Campaign. So starting with this update, we're going to be categorizing scenario packs into 2 groups, right? So we're going to have the additional scenario packs. That is for TLAK and First Blood, the same way you know it right now. And we're also going to have the tournament play scenario packs for both games as well. So the additional scenario packs are the packs for those who enjoy casual and narrative play. And you can think of it as an ever-expanding library, right? As we think of better ways to experience the game, we might innovate in scenario design. We're going to be regularly introducing fresh ways to experience the game. Now, the tournament play pack, right, it's going to be the definitive way to play competitive play. And this is going to be a live document that will be updated, of course, taking into account the specific times and dates of tournaments and events, right? So what's interesting in this pack is that you might find modified versions of scenarios from the additional scenario pack. And when these scenarios, have been played and have been tested further, they'll be integrated into our growing library, and new ones will take their place. So don't be surprised if you come across 2 versions of the same scenario, each optimized for like a different kind of play. Now, at this point, it's important for me to tell you that scenario cards from the Army support packs are still relevant. They're not outdated. They still reference scenarios from the additional scenario pack. And given the fact that we have two major tournaments coming, I just want to say that LGT and Michigan GT are still going to use the pre-update rules, right? So if you guys have painted your armies and prepared your list, you don't have to worry. You're still going to play the way that you prepared everything. And we have put a cutoff date, let's say, up to October 9th for all of events that are planned up until then, right? About 3 and something weeks from now, that you can still play with pre-updated rules, so it doesn't really mess with your flow.
Hey, Leo, if the tournament scenarios are going to be more balanced, why are we even bothering with these additional scenarios?
That's all right. No, that's a fair point. And one of the things that we looked at is that, you know, the tournament scenarios are definitely balanced, right, for competitive play, but nobody likes playing that way all the time, right? So the additional scenario pack versions of those scenarios cater to the more free army list building of narrative and casual play, right? Whereas the tournament pack essentially caters more to the current meta and how different armies are also balanced through the scenarios themselves, right? So it's important to keep that in mind, and this is why we put focus on different things between these two. So each one is, let's say balanced for the way it's intended to play. And now let's get to some really interesting things that a lot of people have mentioned, and some people have already been mentioning specific faction names, and some of you have said Nords, and Nords will be the first one we're going to talk about, right? So we pride ourselves in creating this rich and immersive world, right? And we've been listening to your feedback and hear that our Nords were not quite hitting the mark gameplay-wise, especially when it comes to how they play versus how they seem in the lore. They have such a deep lore, right? But that essence, that core spirit of the Nords wasn't really being captured, right, in the playstyle. So Blood of the Einherjar, as you knew it, painted this picture of the Nords as this persistent warrior faction, right? But it's very poetic, but it was very reactive, right? It made the Nord forces felt like you were on the back foot and you had to wait for things to happen rather than being aggressive and active to use your special rules. So we wanted to change that, to flip that a little bit on its head. And so Ice, Flesh, and Blood, a reworked version of Blood of the Einherjar, and Prophecy Unfulfilled are going to be the 3 new faction special rules for the Nords. So Ice, Flesh, and Blood essentially empowers the Nords to fight effectively, even in the harshest and most perilous terrain, right? After all, fighting in Mannheim, you have to be able to do that in order to be able to conquer there. And you will notice also that we have started to add a ton of lore with these rules, right? So it's important for us to connect these rules with the lore and further identify, right, with our favorite factions. So this is something that you're going to be seeing overall. Now, Blood of the Einherjar, the rework essentially continues to show the same fighting spirit of the Nords, right? Attack them and get hit harder in return. And this update takes it a little bit further, right? Expressing what martial ability and prowess means for the Nords and encourage you to actively seek out the duels rather than you always have to be on the back foot waiting to first take the damage before you dish it out. And of course, for the avid Nord players, under the watchful eye of the High King, right, the mastery that plays with duels have been adjusted accordingly to take this rule into account. Now, finally, we have Prophecy Unfulfilled, right, which further amplifies that Nord, rapid-fire playstyle that you enable essentially your regiments to advance off the battlefield as quickly as possible and pile in on your opponent, right? You're able now to swiftly amass and overwhelm these enemy regiments.
All right, Leo. So why do monsters only get the benefit of these special rules? They're a huge part of the faction. Shouldn't they get all 3?
So, as you might have noticed, yeah, like the monsters, you notice that the phrasing mostly talks about infantry regiments, right, or non-monster regiments. And so the thing is that the Nord monsters really benefit right now from the Ice, Flesh, and Blood, from this new special rule. Right, on its own, it adds a substantial amount of value to monsters. Like, especially even though you don't get to do impact attacks, you are helping them cope with that terrain type they struggle the most, And being affected by the other two rules, we feel that, and our testing has shown that it's going to push them over the edge to overperform.
Okay, so then the Nords can just ignore the terrain?
So short answer is no. They're quite strong now when it comes to terrain, but it's not different, let's say, from Old Dominion ignoring resolves or city-states gaining that initiative through the strategic stack, or having like Wadroon gain all these abilities, right, through the chains.
Leo, can I stop you for 1 second? Some people are having a hard time with your audio that's going in and out for the microphone.
Can everybody hear me now?
I can hear you fine, but maybe just, I don't know what's causing it, to be honest, but I'm seeing that come through in the chat a lot.
Okay. Let's see.
That means you sound good to me. Somebody said it happens when you slow down. Okay, so don't slow down.
Okay, so I'll speak as fast as possible. So yeah, like I said, like these three factions, right? They all have unique ways to play and unique ways to bend, let's say, the game. So just like these factions, you're going to have to adjust your tactics when fighting against the Nords. If you approach terrain without taking that into account, you're going to find yourself in a disadvantage, right? Because Nords are still suffer from line of sight and from losing the impacts. Now, it's just also important here to note that terrain placement is critical in TLUK. And just because a faction has an advantage over it, we should not be discouraged from and affect how our terrain is set up, right? It's part of a war game to understand a faction's strength and play around them rather than change a core aspect of the game, right? And in the process, trade maybe unintentional imbalances. And of course, you've all asked, there's another faction, right, that we have discussed a lot. Daryl, you're muted.
Oh, I am. I don't know why. Adi has a question. Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Adi? Maybe Adi decided not to ask the question. Oh, sorry, no question. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So next up, it's Bellum, right? A faction that we've discussed about them a lot, right? They have been a lot of discussion around them. They have been meta defining, and they have been driving this cleave arms race, right, that we call it. And this is for two main reasons, right? A very high defensive stats, so we're talking about naturally high defensive resolve, and there's also that combined with a high range damage. So it was, let's say, we had to find a way of how to adjust these two core aspects of the Dragon without actually underpowering them. So, big changes here. First of all, no more defense 5, and Bastion becomes hardened across the board. No more Bastion. The hold Ray also goes to resolve 4. Now, this is, right, the biggest obstacle to fighting the Dragon is, that unbreakable defense of 5, right? Essentially, that meant that if you don't have cleave, then you cannot really operate well in a competitive setting, and that sets a cleave arms race, right, that has a profound effect in the game's meta. Now, capping that defense to 4 allows armies that rely on volume of attacks, like Spires, maybe Northern builds, right, to perform better against them. This different playstyle is now becoming more viable in a competitive setting, and we're trying to adjust the meta based on that. So essentially, Dragon transforms from the faction you need cleave to combat to the faction against cleave is less useful. That's quite an interesting change and an important one in terms of meta. Now, that shift in dynamic not only maintains the defensive nature of the Dragon, but also aligns them thematically, right? Given, they were fighting literal dragons. So overall, regiments like Steelforged, Stoneforged have all moved to defensive 4, and abilities that previously just added defense, right now they have been updated to either give Harden or something else. And even we're also very careful with how Harden stacks up, right? So that's something to take into account.
So wait a minute, Leo. That high defense, that was a core feature of Dragon. What do they get in return?
They do. And, like we did with the Nords, we went back and we wanted to look at what makes Dwegom unique in terms of playstyle, right? And we wanted to lean more into that combined arms nature of the Dwegom, right? The way that they employ magic, which is a big part of who they are, and wanted to balance them and adjust them where we see fit. So first of all, Dwegom magic got a lot more interesting. Now, the first change was Flame Wall, reducing some of the damage, and we gave back some utility. Now, the Tempered Sorcerer may still perform the 2 spellcasting actions as part of the Supremacy, right? So that's the same. But the offensive output has been reeled in a little bit. And that's mostly, for example, the Focused Mastery now has been adjusted towards that as well. So you now trigger it once per activation, not once per spellcasting action. So that helps reel back a little bit of all that damage. The other important change you're going to notice is Roots of Stone. Now it can only be applied to a regiment that has not yet activated and therefore requires more time investment before a Dwegom regiment may root itself on an objective job. Right? So essentially what we wanted to do is make Dwegom work a little bit harder for the things that they got and, make sure they're not just naturally shut off. They have to be working a little bit harder. However, the School of Magma has been reimagined and rebuilt from the ground up, mostly because there were certain synergies that didn't work well. There was a little bit of game design that we found a little bit outdated from our end. And so Magma spells now work around the Erupting rule. It's a terrain attribute, think of it like that works in synergy with the Magma spells, enabling the sorcerer to inflict damage on targets within pieces of zonal or garrison terrain, and even extend the range of spells like Pyroclast, or even hit distant and hidden targets. The next important thing in correlation to the spells is how heralds have been adjusted. So now, each herald, fire, ray, stone, and magma, interact with spells that share their element. So the Herald of Fire can act as a short-range node, right, to enemy regiments in contact, a bit like this. Regiments with the Herald of Stone gain extra benefits from stone spells, and Herald of Magma essentially turns pieces of terrain to erupting terrain. Now, you're also going to notice that if you have the Herald of Magma, you're not hit by the erupting terrain, essentially. So all heralds have maintained their useful abilities on top of which these synergies were built. And of course, that rework in Magic could simply not be complete without really looking at the Tempered Steel Shaper. Now, for those of you that play Dragon with First Blood, you've seen a version and let's say build of the Steel Shaper that is a lot more thematic and a lot more interesting. And there was no reason why not, represent essentially Steel Shaper in the same light in TLA UK. And so the Steel Shaper has been reforged into a frontline support spellcaster, equipped with a complete new set of abilities and a brand new supremacy ability. It's called Ferric Embrace, that more closely aligns with the Steel Shaper's essentially elemental, barely Dwegom anymore nature. You're also going to notice that the Steel Shaper doesn't take a retinue, and we also put a little tidbits of lore, explaining why. What's that?
Thanks, Leo. So are you basically saying that the Dweg players can't just show up and throw minis on the table anymore? They have to build some strategy into their gameplay?
I mean, definitely there is a little bit, there is the theme of the Dwegom have to work a little bit more for the things that they get. And all that efficiency they had in terms of defense now is more evenly spread out across the faction. It's also extremely important the fact that it opens up game design space for us to be able to give Dwegom all these cool new things without being locked into essentially their hard stats, right?
So do we have anything else we're going to talk about? I think you said there were 3 factions we were talking about.
Yes, that's right. So now Spires gain a number of important rules adjustments, right, to feel right at home in this new meta. So they're a faction that can employ volume of attacks playstyle, and they now get a few new tools to make that happen. So let's start with superior creations. So first of all, some of you have already, before I have even started talking about it, most of you have already understood what the change is. Essentially, this rule, first of all, no longer includes evasion, which is not the important bit. right? But what is happening is that the upgrades are no longer limited to the Warlord's Warband. So, for example, if you have superior creations, now you can upgrade regiments in Leaning's Highborn, Cyclone Executor, and Medic Assassin Warbands, right? So despite the loss of evasion, the real value of this rule is in the additional class and the freedom to upgrade regiments from across multiple warbands. So players have been asking for this, and I think it was just the right time to introduce it. But we don't stop there, right? The Ferromancer has gotten a little bit of love in two ways. First of all, the Underspire subfaction has gotten a little bit of love through the Unnumbered Menagerie. Now the rule has been expanded to also include brute drones. Now, as they're a staple Underspire regiment, there was no reason why they should be part of it. They are now not excluded from the heal, and we feel that this adds a lot of value to that rule. And of course, there is a new action for the Ferromancer. So the Ferromancer has gained the Induced Lethargy action. This new action allows the Ferromancer to suppress enemy formations and provides friendly regiments an opportunity to overwhelm their enemies, right, and counter like naturally highly defensive regiments. So this is essentially our way of giving tools and making sure that this targeted volume of attacks gameplay becomes more viable, right? Making sure that we arrange that meta to go away from that plate-heavy way of playing. But of course, another play-test favorite regiment was Distillation Drones, and they received the glow-up as well. So they got a new rule, reprocessing agents. And for us, this was a great thematic way to add some more interesting utility to the regiment. So now the Spires have all the tools they need to combat highly defensive armies and find their place right in this new meta. Now, there are also some overall changes that have been made. For example, we added wording to monster writing characters regarding line of sight related questions that you asked us. We made clarifications to Raven Messengers and how that interacts with Broken, whether the character is broken or the regiment that is about to benefit is broken. And we made some point adjustments to the Dweghom North Spires as well. They are minor, but they're, to take into account some of the things that they lost or have gained. Right, and finally, you're also going to notice when the update comes out on Monday that Seleni Hunters and Seleni Rangers have had their names changed to Satiri and Seleni, respectively. And for reasons that I'm not going to tell you, Satiri might have gained a little rule to reflect on something. But that is as far as I'm going to say. So yes, this was a fantastic update for us. This was, I think, an update that a lot of you were expecting. We're very excited to give a little bit more character, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more depth to the way the Nord faction plays. We were excited to find creative ways in which to adjust Dweghom, not just take away from them, but really take and give where it's appropriate, right? And ultimately, this is what we feel balancing is about. It's not just simply taking away, but finding ways to make things work. We're just very excited for this new update, and I really hope you're too.
We've certainly had a lot of questions. Stavro, do you want to add anything before we take some of the questions?
Sorry.
Do you want to add anything to this?
Not at this stage. Rules is 100% Leo's métier. I leave him to these. This is his realm. The same way I keep it with the same. He keeps me out of rules with the same vigor I keep him out of lore.
Fair enough.
One day I will find my way into the writer's office.
No, you are way too obvious, man. No, you won't. If you weren't showing up with a torch, a sword, and yelling, burn it all, maybe.
So, Leo, a question. Are the Valkyries and the Volva getting changed at all to allow more regiments for the Volva?
So, if the question is to expand Volva's warband, and no such change hasn't happened. There is a change to the Huskarls that their standard bearer dropped by 5 points and they've gained untouchable. That is to make the comparison with the Valkyries better. But for right now, the Volva has not received any.
From Twitter, or Twitch, I should say, we're being asked, is all Bastion gone or just on Dwego?
No. Sebastian is gone on Dwego, right? And so you're going to notice from the Infernal Writer no longer has a Bastion. All of the things for Dwego that gave Bastion is no longer there. So that's and they have taken a form of pardon or something that helps them defensively in that way. But overall, expect the defense cap to be at 4.
Okay. There are no plans for 100K changes at the moment, correct?
So no, at the moment. Right now, our big update was about these 3 factions, and later on, we will be looking for 100 Kingdoms and the other factions for the next update. But for right now, we're not announcing major updates. Let's say like
I can add one thing that our policy is to do relatively small rolling updates and see how the meta adapts as regularly as necessary, not with like a particular 3 month, 6 month, however long period. It's as necessary, and where necessary, we're going to come in. Balance is critical to all of us, so it's interesting question that just snuck in. Sorry.
I'm going to go through them. I'm back a few minutes still. We do look at all the armies, and we do pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the tournaments. And we do, what's it called? There's a word. We do lurk. There we go. We lurk in the forums and the Discord to pay attention and try to see the trends and what's going on. Did we change or expand the Caraway spells?
The Caraway spells, from what I remember, no. Okay. So there's no change in the Caraway spells.
Yarrick, we are going to release these on Monday, so there's no need for NDA changes in advance. They're coming real fast to you. The app is already getting ready to be uploaded for updating as well, so it's coming quick. Are there going to be any changes to retinues in this update? I think it's fair to say that we've announced all of the changes, but just to make sure I do take care of the questions. Correct?
So,
these are the changes.
Yes, that's right. So there's no change in the retinues, nor is there any adjustment to any specific retinues. So no retinues for totes. They're all safe. No retinues were harmed during the making of this update.
Catherine, just hang on. The edgy of you must hang on. That's all I can say about that. Nord Army rules will be published on Monday. Cody, I'm not going to run through them all again, but don't worry. They're coming fast and furious. There will not be a Project 9 vote this year. We'll do something different. We don't normally do that every year to answer that question. But saved army lists in the app auto update for points, rules, etc., or do they need to be redone?
The army lists. Yeah.
I think our
developer
Oh, Jonas has joined. Welcome.
The most qualified person to answer them.
Yeah, so I can. For this update, you won't need to change anything in the list. They will basically auto-update.
Perfect. Will we be having updates to the Conquest Legends campaigns? Jordan, you must have joined late. You will get news of campaign updates in October's happy hour coming very, very quickly. Am I having a good day? Yes, I am. And thank you so much for asking. Cheers, mate. Let's see. Can you show us a bit of the New Living World before it's official returning? No. Not yet. How's that? We haven't announced any changes to the Living World. Can you see some models? You have one more thing to wait through, Scott, which is, and the wizard that has made all of this happen has joined the call. And so I'm going to give the floor to Leo and Panayotis again to talk about the app updates that are going on that you'll be very, very excited. And yes, those are new models behind me. So I have already released some teases, and some of you have noticed Stavro has a few too. So Easter eggs abound.
So, right, that's exciting. It's like, you know, the feeling when you're testing something like that we've been making, and it's just so unbelievably cool in terms of practicality. And I think you're gonna agree with us. And so, as you know, we have our Conquest companion app. Hopefully, everybody's using it. We know who isn't. No, just kidding. And and on Monday, you know, part of our, you know, army list building is one thing, but we always want to make sure that we provide the best tools for the job, the best tools that what we really say within the team. We look at quality of player experience, right? Quality of player life. And so what we wanted to do is add a very important feature to the app, and that is how running a tournament, right? From the very beginning to the very end, when it comes to Vanguards out here or players, right? We felt that the whole process of setting up a tournament, the whole process of registering players, making sure that everybody gets their AGM, all of those things, right, have to be better. They have to be streamlined, and they have to be consolidated, right, within this one tool that you already have on your phone. So there was no point for us to not go ahead with some great updates. So Panagiotis, would you mind presenting us?
Yeah, I'm actually going to start presenting. Just give me a minute.
So what we're going to see right now is how to run a brand new tournament from the get-go. So this is the new home screen that you're going to be seeing in your app, and we're going to go ahead and click on New Tournament. So right from the bat, you're going to find a few basic information that you already have to submit when running a tournament. It has, you know, a name, whether it's Last Argument of Kings or First Blood, the points. You can find a location, whether it's a club, a store, an event, or something or other, the typical things. And you also have right then and there a way to put your OP kit code. Daryl, do you mind if I teach just a little bit the small change of the OP kit code because it makes sense within the context of the tournament?
Sure. JJ, is that a question that you have that's regarding this immediate stuff, or can it wait till we're done with the presentation, this part of the presentation? Oh, I think you hit the button by mistake.
So,
hey, sorry.
Oh, you didn't hit the button.
It just has to do with when we upload this, will it automatically update on the calendar or not?
No.
Or if that's something we still have to do.
Calendar is
no.
for now.
So the calendar, yeah, for now, that's true. That's true. Another foreshadowing here. So yeah, for now, the calendar is separate from the tournament, from running the actual tournament. So the only thing what I'm going to spoil here for the purposes of the app is that from now on you need one OP kit code per tournament, regardless of the amount of people, right? And if you want to make things a lot easier, you can just add it right by starting, you know, the tournament in, so you don't have to go back home and have to do everything later. So let's start the tournament here. Right, and so this is the UI essentially you see when you first start running the tournament. You have the normal app header, which is you can go back to and you can search for special rules. You can scan QR codes, so all that functionality is going to stay there regardless, right, for ease. And then you have the tournament header, right? Essentially it shows event current status, right? Whether you are, right now you're in the step of registering players, and later on, as you're going to see as we move on, you're going to see that the tournament moves on to round 1, 2, finish, etc. And this is also the place where you will be able to edit event data, just in case you want to edit something. You can go back and add your OP kit code, right? Not having it right there in that minute doesn't mean you cannot edit later, right, for ease of use. And then below that, you're going to find the main UI, which is split into 3 basic parts. So you have the overview, which is the basic information, right, in stats. Then you have the players, where players will be added and dropped, and standings are calculated after each round. We're going to see later. And then we have the rounds. Essentially, you can see the results and the new pairings that are generated for each round. So let's try.
Basically, I would say that the first step anyone would take would be to start registering players.
And so a number of great things here. So let's start by adding one player, right? So you can, the way you can add the player is that simply by, putting the name and then the PIN number or the email, right? Which is great, and their faction. Or, and here's the kicker, or you can scan the player by creating through the app a QR specific code, a code to the player. And so what you have to do as a tournament organizer is simply scan the player. The player will present their QR code. The QR code will be generated from the app from their army list, essentially. And you will be able to, by scanning the QR code, to extract the PIN number of the player, the faction, and the army list. So simply,
I could try to demonstrate that a little bit if you want.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
So just to give you an idea, so if I go back here to my lists, okay. So now I have a list here set up. So now if I export a PDF, from now on I will also be getting a QR code printed on that PDF list. And I can also generate the same QR code right here within the app. So even if I don't have the list printed, say I only have it on my phone, I can still generate the QR code for the tournament organizer to scan.
Yeah, and that's a game changer for any tournament organizer, because essentially you show up with your list, you generate that QR code, the tournament organizer literally just scans it, and that's all the information you have to do. You can go through players, through like a number of players in the breeze, and even if you show up with your list printed and you don't have your phone right on you, that's fine. As long as you exported your list, from your own app and you're logged in, you get that QR. The tournament organizer just scans you from the printed copy, and you're good to go. There's no the Vanguard or the tournament organizer. They don't have to go home and go through that entire process of registering people. Everybody is registered. Everybody's getting their ag if an OPK code is provided, and things just roll like super quickly. It's extremely important to streamline that process for us. And the other good thing is that essentially you get a form of list validation, because if the list has any warnings or there's anything that is not accurate in the list, essentially, you are not able to generate the QR. So you know right then and there that if you've forgotten something, if something doesn't work, that QR is not going to pop up. So there's a lot of many birds with one stone that it's been hit there.
Yeah, so even though right now we don't actually include the entire list data within that QR code, though we will get there eventually to also build some other features. But even as it is right now, it includes the basic data that is required to register a player in the tournament. Plus, you will know if that list was built for the points of that tournament, and whether it had any errors. So you have that basic information.
And I'm just realizing these are the names are for friends. I just realized the names.
It's probably a happy coincidence.
So from there, once you've done that, essentially you can edit player data at any time, right? You can drop a player, and you can also do friendly fire, right? Essentially what friendly fire is that you've been going into an event, you've been driving together or flying together for I don't know how many hours, and you want to experience the game, you want to play with players that you haven't played before, you just want to see the local community, the local scene, right? I mean, I don't think you want to play with a person that is sitting right next to you for like 12 hours getting there. So essentially what friendly fire does is that if the amount of players permit, for the first round and first round only, so that is before any wins or losses are scored, you get the choice to essentially register as a friendly fire team. So the app does whatever it can to not pair you against each other for the first round. This is right because you've been traveling for a while, and I'm sure you don't want to play against the player that you've been playing against for how long?
Yes. So right now, made an easy to see choice where I put all the guys in a group, in a friendly fire group. So you'll notice that on the first round, it will be basically boys against girls.
Great. So let's then start it up. Let's start with round one.
Just to note here that we have the number of rounds generated based on the number of players we have registered. So we have 3 rounds, and we also have the scenarios for each round randomly drawn beforehand, so we can see the scenarios, and of course we can change them if we want. We can select a different one for any of the rounds. I think it's now a good time to also show that we have included the scenario pack. So up here at any moment you can hit this button and you'll have the scenario PDF document, and this is for you to reference, and this is just the normal PDF that you can zoom in and pan as you do with any other app. And as a convenience, next to each of the scenarios we have this I button here that will open the same document basically, but at the page, directly at the page where the scenario is, just as a nice convenient feature.
So to quickly answer the question, yes, we will be making a guide on exactly with guiding you through the processes and the steps. We'll make sure to have screenshots of the app, tell you what does what, and be able to help you go through it, all of the information found there. Now, of course, like Panagod said, you get a random scenario there, but of course, we encourage pre-selecting the scenario. So if you want to pre-select the scenario, but if you just want to do it fun, whatever, do random scenarios, you can do that. So you can always choose the scenario you want to play. So let's see who plays against whom.
Okay.
And Leo, I'm keeping track of questions that we can ask at the end. I know a lot of you are asking similar questions over and over again. Don't worry, I won't forget you. We will get to them.
So first of all, you're going to notice right at the very top, you now see that the subtype has changed to round 1, right? So this always tells you exactly where you are doing the tournament. And then these are the first pairings. So
what we could do here, if we're not happy with the random pairing that was generated, we have some options here. We can basically switch tables if we want, so we can grab the table 1 pair and just move them to table 2 or 3, for example, or we can grab individual players. And we can switch them around. So let's say we select here Ross from table 3, they switch places. And as soon as when we're happy with what we have, we can lock pairings. And as soon as we do that, no more changes are allowed, obviously, and then we can start adding results.
And yeah, so at that point, once we lock pairings, we move on to adding results. At the end of each game, you have to essentially give the results we want, right? Put the victory points.
Adding results is very straightforward. We just input the victory points of the players. That's all you need to do. And as soon as you have all the tables filled in just a second. Okay, that was an accident, but anyway, why not? And then as soon as we have all the tables filled in, then we can lock the results unless we can reset any table, make any changes if we had any mistakes, obviously. When we're happy with it, we lock the results. We get this warning, no more changes are allowed in this round anymore. And then if we go back to the Players tab, we'll see that now we have our standings after round 1.
Yeah, and that's now actually pairings in round 2 and actually round 3 and onwards are going to start getting quite interesting as well. So Essentially, first of all, we keep going through the rounds. So you can, let's say, generate the pairings, and we can keep giving different results. Now, what's important, essentially, when you're playing a lot of rounds, is that we have we're going to be moving essentially as having a tiebreak, having strength of schedule from now on as a tiebreaker. So there are a few changes happening there as well, and the app is taking that into consideration. So this is something that will be introduced in our next play. Essentially, for those that do not know, strength of schedule essentially not only takes into account whether you won or lost, but it also takes into account the standings of the person you've played against, right? Because sometimes you may lose from from an opponent that has already won, let's say, 4 games in a row, and that counts differently if you, let's say, beat a player that has 2 wins and two losses. So, right, depending on the track record, let's say, of your opponent and how strong that opponent has been in that particular tournament, there's a tiebreaker that takes that into account and makes sure that that you're put in a fair place in the standings. So let's go through. So there is the option to drop a player, and
just wanted to quickly show that as well. So right now we're at the end of round 2. You can see that up here as well. So let's assume that someone is leaving the event. So we have a player dropping. It just drops to the bottom of the standings, and when we generate the pairings of the next round, we obviously now we have an odd number of players. So we have someone put in reinforcement.
So I saw an excellent question of whether we have the win rates of certain regiments. Now, definitely, this is a feature with which we're going to be actively using to balance the game and making sure that things are working the way they should. This is going to be a great tool for people to be gaining stats and be able to see the stats and give everybody, right, a greater transparency for the state of the game. We highly encourage you using and running your tournaments through that through the app, right? Because essentially it gives us all of that data and it gives us all of that information we need to balance every regiment, to see what regiments work, to see what regiments don't work, right, and be able to give you a very balanced gameplay experience. Does friendly fire prevent a grudge match? Essentially, friendly fire only make sure that if you've been traveling with a friend for many hours or you've been playing always with somebody, right, for the very first round, if it's possible, you're not going to be paired against them. Just for the first round. After that, it's open season and it goes to whoever wins loses and whatever the tiebreakers are.
But of course, you do have the option to manipulate the pairings on each round. So if there's any reason that you really need 2 players to play or not play together, you can do that. So right now I'm basically locking the last round, and we will immediately get back to the overview where we have our top 3 and the final results.
That's perfect.
So we have a number of questions. Are you guys ready for some?
Yeah. Can I? I have quite a few from Twitch in front of me. Do you want me to just start going through them?
Oh, you can. I wrote a bunch down as well. Joey's been forwarding them, so I've been. Yeah, whatever is best for you.
So I get a question from Carnivorous Kang. Will the data gotten from the tournament results be public for browsing, such as placing, all players, win rate, list, companions? The answer is yes. This is what we are working towards. Eventually, we want everybody to have that information, to keep things transparent, so you can see you can see all that data. Now, until we have a good way to we implement essentially live browsing of those and public browsing, we might have to do, let's say, state of the game updates, and which we're going to be talking about those. But this is essentially what we're planning towards. The Ferromancer, no, they do not lose their old action. This is on top of that. Can this be used for club tournaments that is spread over weeks, months? Yeah, essentially, if you can play round 1 and then you don't necessarily have to finish it in one sitting, right? You can just have it on your phone, and whenever round 2 comes in, you can just take your phone out update the tournament or move to the next round. So it's not, you don't necessarily have to do everything in one sitting. It saves everything. Can you choose which version of the rules to use for a tournament so as to lock in rules right around when a new rule set comes out? So here's the thing. Right now, with the current rules, you don't have the choice to choose over one or the other. So when there's an update, this is going to be updated as well. Now, if for a reason we find that something like that is necessary, we're going to cross that bridge when we have to. But overall, when we update to a new version, all of our systems we want to be updated as well.
So if points have changed, then the what's called the army builder won't generate the QR code because the army won't be valid, correct?
Yeah. So essentially, so this is actually happened. This happens from the army list building side of the game. So for example, whether the army list is valid or not is checked right at the list building stage, so the QR isn't generated. So this is handled from a different part of the app systems, but yeah, essentially this is what it's translated into. I have a question whether we need to pay for rules updates. No, you do not need to pay for rules updates. That's the beauty of it.
What about tiebreakers, Leo? How are they handled?
So right now, tiebreakers are VPs are the tiebreakers, but we're going to be moving soon into a strength of schedule system. Whereas you have your wins and losses, of course, as the main way in which to see who won, who lost. But then you also take into consideration who you lost against or who you won, right? So between players, let's say they've had, let's say, 2 losses and 2 wins each, the person that has lost from winners will be, when it comes to equal things, like how do I say it, winning against a strong player or losing against a strong player, strong in terms of that particular tournament, right, is count stronger as if, for example, you have lost against a player that has lost all of their games or have won over a game that has lost a number of games. Of course, the main differentiator always is the amount of games that you won and lost. But this is this is the strength of schedule is the tiebreaker. Now, is there a way to change the tiebreaker? We will be able to change. We will implement a way to also change the tiebreaker and go into victory points as well, so you can choose your play experience.
Advanced registrations. Can people sign up in advance?
So I guess like the way that you can use the app really does allow you to do that, because essentially the only thing you have to do is talk with your TO, right? And the TO can simply open their app and start the registration process right then and there. So, and like I said before, you don't have to finish the whole thing right then in one sitting. You can open any part of the app, you can start the process of submitting a tournament, and you can stop doing it at any point and continue off whenever you want it. So practically, you can open the app, let's say register a couple players, and then wait, and then, all that can happen in different times, so you don't have to be there.
And then Ben White asked about in-app rules and question capabilities. Is that something we're looking at down the road?
So yes. So like you saw right now for the scenarios, let's say PDFs, this is something that is easy to do with the PDFs because it's just for, let's say it's easy to just browse and see what happens in the pack. The reason we haven't done that for the rules PDFs so far is, first of all, there's a matter of space, so there's certain technical hurdles that we have to go through, and the other thing is that we want to visually structure it different. We want to get there, but make it in a way that it's even more usable than just having to give you a PDF and you have to zoom in and go through everything. So we're looking at a way in the future to construct that part of the app differently, not just give you a PDF.
So any plans to link player app with the TO app so players can enter round results on their own?
So this is not currently happening, right? So right now this is only the TO that is running the whole thing, getting the results and doing and putting the results in. But this is essentially what you're seeing right now is the base of a grander like tournament organizing and tournament running system, right? So in the future, we're looking for far more complex, let's say, systems where everything, even for Vanguards, even ways to report those tournaments later on, and give us feedback or send photos and everything. We want ultimately to be able to do that all through the app, and so that a player-facing part of the tournament system is something that we're planning as well.
Nice, thank you, Leo. So we're up at the end of the happy hour time that I slotted for 5 o'clock. Seems like we're forgetting something, though. Are there any other questions for people that have for Leo or Panagiotis? Am I forgetting something, Leo? JJ raised his hand. JJ, you have a question?
Yes, hello. Question in regards to kind of player activities. Will player accounts be linked into the tournament? So kind of if there are issues with individual players, that can be more regularly tracked? Or is that more of a future?
Oh, so just to make sure, are you talking, let's say, with a player with a specific PIN number being, let's say, disqualified or dropped too many times? Is this the kind of...
Kind of, yeah. Like players who regularly drop on second round, or players if they were forced or removed from the tournament due to cheating or things like that. Will that be tracked within app and linked to player accounts? Or is that not a plan?
So right now, we definitely make sure we track the fact that somebody's being dropped, and that is necessary for reasons of the next pairings. But then we don't have a report system in the app, but we leave that also, to each communities and each group's the group leader, the community leader, and the TO to handle that process of whether a player, if they've seen that a player is misbehaving, they're not following the rules of decorum, they're, let's say, cheating or doing anything that is not constructive or good for the community. We leave that to our Conquest community leaders, to our Vanguards, to our TOs, to see that in advance. But for right now, we only keep track of drops, not a specific characteristics like that.
So JJ, if it happens,
yep.
I'll make up some scarlet C's, and we can just get them. So you can just put them right on their shirt. Little literary reference there for the reading group here. Hopefully, Constantinos, I hope you appreciated that.
I would go for an angry chicken, but not so angry. A devilish chicken.
All right, so
have been in shirts we've been giving to people, so we've banned a lot of people right from the get-go.
There, that's true. All right, so I have a sense that the community is voting to continue the happy hour past the allotted time, and I think there is a missing piece that I have to do and have to show to people. So Leo Panagiotis, I think your questions are done, right?
Yes.
Are we good? All right, so. I know this is some of the things that you've all been waiting for, and we're excited to show you some of the new stuffs, as they say. Bright and shinies are coming up. So let me just get this screen going. And hopefully you can now see it on your screen. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Everyone see it okay? I can't see you anymore, so I'm on full screen, so you're going to have to say yes or no.
Yes, we can, Daryl.
Perfect. Thank you, Reese. Oh, now why is it acting so weird? All right, so I know everyone is aware of the Tantor and the Drum Beast, but I want to point out that they are releasing next week, and they are en route to people. They've all begun to ship, so I thought it would be really a good idea to start off with the things you haven't yet seen in person, but that are coming this month. We're very, very excited, both appreciative of your incredible support as we crowdfunded the die and tool and die making of this beasts, I should say, and also just how excited we are for people to have these on their tables and see the few of you that have seen them in person at like Gen Con or some of the other events, I think will agree they live up to the hype. And then the separate pieces that are coming individually for free for those who bought the bundle, I should say, and individually moving forward. And these are great poses, gang. Super exciting. And making the deluxe base only seemed appropriate for the size and the exciting sculpt that these are. So I know that that's not new to most of you, but I still feel like I don't want to gloss over how important this is, one, to the Radrun players, of course. It's enormously, pardon the pun, enormously important to them, but it's also super important to our company. This is a big undertaking for us. And so, again, Stavro, I don't know if you want to add anything in, but I want to express my gratitude for everyone's support, but also share with you just how beautiful they came out.
I'm just glad I get to sleep again. That did not happen this summer. So
True.
yes.
True that.
It's a fantastic undertaking. I wish I could claim it is the largest plastic model, but a certain plastic bucket that will not be named technically retains the title. But you've got to see the scale of this beast to get it. Those Wadrun that you see comically small on top of it are to scale with our other Wadrun. That should give you an idea of what you're looking at.
So those who ordered it, stand by. They're coming soon. So as we noted earlier, the Cellini and the Satiri are coming next in October as your new dual kit expansion for the city-states. And Stavro, you can jump in here about sculpts and things that you want to share in particular about these.
So you can all, obviously see the origin of the naming convention for both of these. We wanted to, basically use mythology. At the same time, we wanted to steer away from traditional depictions of beastmen, so we wanted to have this nobility to them. You will notice that the Satiri are a little bit more aggressive, shall we say, than the Cellini. This is intentional. And you will be able to find out in the lore, which will be slowly expanding over time in the living world. I am not yet at liberty to divulge that, but very soon you will have more information. And their battlefield roles are equally separate between basically backline poking and aggressive infiltration. So these are units that will give the city-states player a tremendous amount of versatility when it comes to what you traditionally expect from a line of phalanxes coming your way. There might be some things that just throw some sticks in your gears and make things not work.
Sorry.
Oh, well, I guess they're here now.
They're here. These are bad dudes.
So for those of you who were wondering what the Inquisitors were, they are basically proxy bodies for the Scholae and the Council. They are the graceless fingers of their far-reaching hand. And they are their tool of choice when they have to basically exert violence or brute force. The Eidolon, on the other hand, is significantly more developed, and he is not just a violent manifestation of the Scholae's will, but he is actually copying certain ideas and technologies from certain other people, knowing that it's possible, allowed the city-states to figure out a way to let the Scholae actually inhabit, in however limited a fashion, the body of an Eidolon. So, well, there you have it. These guys are basically the wait, is it the right hand? No, they're the left hand of the Scholai. Yeah, no, I really like that model. I was very, very happy with it. Very, very happy.
One more time for everyone. It goes too fast.
Beautiful. Just to say here about the satire, I think now you understand why I said they were going to get something specifically a rule based on their design, and that is the seal. That's good.
Don't worry, we're not done yet. I love that people are still joining. They've missed so much, but they don't care. They're still coming.
Oh, somebody asked on Twitch. I said sealed, so they're gaining sealed.
Driz Death has raised his hand, and either he's seeking the restroom or he is actually going to ask a question.
Yeah, so hi, I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So from my opinion, so it's a question to Stravos. From my opinion, it's they seem a bit out of theme for the city states. So why do they look so different from the normal, very neatly done city states?
Do you notice the difference in the cloaks, the different color that we used?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely intentional. The city-states that you traditionally see are the citizens, citizen levies, right? The inquisitors are the normally unseen hand of the Scholai. When you delve into their lore, you're going to find out that basically they are the dark hand of the Scholai, and that's. As a result of that, not as much attention has been paid to what they look. Plus, given the way they look, it's easy for people to confuse where they came from. But basically, they are not part of the standard forces of the city-state, of the classical forces of a city-state.
Also, I'd like to say, because I've had, let's say, similar conversations the same Discord as well, is that I think sometimes, especially when a new faction comes out, and we see right now, especially with the city-states, we only get to see a part, of those forces. Suddenly, when the new model comes in and they expand, right, a lot of people might be left like, oh, that wasn't, a theme that I was expecting, but that is because, an initial release of an army also kind of allows us only to see so much, but then I think
you have until now seen traditionally what you would call the sort of the core of the army, but you specifically have not seen forces from, let's say, the religious city-states or the Scholai city-states.
Okay, understood. Thanks for your explanation. They definitely look as if you do not want to meet them at night. You do not want to get in touch with the Inquisition.
So here we have the companion cavalry and the Ipercos coming in, I don't have the schedule in front of me now, January, I believe.
Yep. January, you're up.
Thank you, Reese. Yeah, well, I have it on full screen now, so I can't look at my cheat sheet. So
yeah, these are
signing in, Reese, for me on this one.
These are an absolute nod to. I'm not even going to pretend. You can even see the lion design on the helmet of the Iparco. This is an absolute nod to the Macedonian companion cavalry and Alexander the Great. They are not your traditional heavy cavalry. Okay, this is not a point-and-click unit, and then whatever stands in the way is obliterated. They need finesse. They definitely need aggression. And I think that they're going to add a fantastic dimension to the city-states proper. I'd love to take credit for the design, but frankly, we went as historical as we could while keeping it within the setting of our world. Some things just have to be paid homage to, not much more to say about these.
So we'll go to another cavalry. The Sealed Temple are coming, and I'll point out that if you already have a Priory commander, there's your commander. If you don't, you'll need one. These two will release in January.
Yep.
So January will be cavalry month.
So what we did with these models was we wanted to definitely include the architectural elements of the temple itself within them. But at the same time, we also very much wanted to keep their lighter, more graceful, more, they have fluid formation for crying out loud. We wanted to show that they are heavy, but they are not super heavy. So I think we nailed it with these guys. They set the bar pretty damn high for what follows. So I am very happy with them. Oh, and here, just a random change of pace.
Yes, a very big change of pace. And Catherine, I know you're jumping up and down for joy at this moment as you get to see the werewolves, which will arrive in December. Correct me if I'm wrong, Reese.
Spot on.
Oh, look at that.
I get so confused, guys, because I have the prototype delivery dates, and then I have the when it has to be painted by, and then when the files have to be submitted, and when the first plastic needs to be inspected. And I'm like, when does it actually release? I have no idea.
And theoretically, that's my job. But we've been playing
many
juggle the
different
schedule
hats
over the last couple of days to make sure that we are able to hit these dates. So even I'm going like, wait, which one did we settle on? So this is a December release, just in time for Christmas. So for your what I will call post-Christmas holiday break, if you are lucky enough to get one and have the luxury of doing some painting, these will be fresh on your table.
Oh, guys, I do want one disclaimer. Oh, come on. The companion cavalry that you saw is because of the speed of the update. They are not actually the final production files. Do take that into account. Now, everything else that you've seen are production files, so you can tell that the production files are pretty damn fine. But I do want that disclaimer there. The city-states that you saw, the Iparjos production file, the other guys are not production. They still have to go through the production process. So they might lose an infinitesimal amount of detail.
I think anyone that is looking at the screen at the moment, though, is overwhelmed by just the beauty of the Nord's army and how it just gets better and better every time. And speaking of better and better, this is our new Artisan series for the Nords. They are more standard size characters, so $29.99 and $39.99 respectively, left to right retail. So don't get terrified by the Artisan series name. Not every Artisan series is $130. These are going to be highly, highly detailed, a little more money, but I think you can see why.
Yeah. Some of you may notice something. Well, beyond the Jarl. There we go.
You're going to have to, because I can't see the chat at this moment.
So somebody's saying, what's a Vargir Lord? What's this? And yes, this is actually a new character that is being introduced. It's going to allow players to field purely bestial troops. and we thought it would be a fantastic thematic change. I will actually admit that much like the Frostjotnar, or the Icejotnar, sorry.
That's okay.
Icejotnar, yeah, I didn't want to confuse you guys. These were originally intended to be a Founders exclusive duel. And then we were just looking at it going like, nope, we can't limit it to just this. So that's why they became Artisan series. And we just, sometimes miniatures just inspire you. And that's basically what happened here.
These two will come in December with the werewolves. I think.
Well, yes. The Vatican Lord will definitely release with the werewolves. Yes, it would be
a fun holiday. Let me say it that way.
Yeah,
and criminal not to.
Yes.
Yes, and please, somebody feel free to respond on chats or tell me if I need to be pausing because I cannot see the screen without shutting down the full screen view for you guys. So you'll have to tell me if there's anything that needs attention as a host. This is for Dave Richardson. Hello, Dave. Hi, Dave. I expect you to chime in. You have to take yourself off mute for this once you stop screaming.
Still screaming. Still screaming. Goodbye.
And the nice thing is assembly will be a little easier than the A-bomb.
Oh, God. Yeah, we learned a lot since then, guys. You can tell, right? Please tell me you can tell. Please tell me it's not all for nothing.
And this is a beautiful plastic monster. Look at the
By the way,
detail.
these are full production plastic files. What you're seeing right now is plastic.
I've seen it. It's stunning.
So yeah, no, it's a beautiful model. For those of you who can tell, the entire concept is based on, if you guys know about the mantis shrimp. These guys are tiny, right? Absolutely tiny little, basically shrimp that punch so hard that they actually cavitate the water. They create empty space behind their tiny, tiny little fists that makes, basically my understanding is the pressure as the water collapses again. I don't want to speak out of turn, but basically they punch so hard they cavitate the water, and the shock wave from that cavitation is what knocks out their prey. They have been known to break water tanks despite being like tiny things.
You're correct, but it also creates heat because it hits so fast.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember
Strongest
saying it
punch
actually
in
makes plasma, but I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
So
Like
no, they're actually
sun.
that damn cool.
They create a small sun in there.
Yes.
Like
so they punch so hard they create a sun. Like
pretty much. It's a real life Kamehameha.
Yeah, seriously, what the ever living what? It honestly felt so far fetched. I didn't want to bring it up. But yeah, they literally punch a sun.
Literally, what is technically going on is the weight of the entire ocean for a fraction of a millisecond is in that little punch, which creates all of that energy and that heat.
I just want to tell the audience here that this is literally how many of our conversations go, where we talk about rules and they go into like an analysis of how Mantis strip punch. So this is just for you to give you a little bit of like the dynamics, the in-office dynamics.
And normally I'm not as patient, but I'm being polite on this. Normally, I'd be like, all right, let's bring it back together. So let's bring it back together.
Daryl, before you move on to the next, I just want to say that when I was talking about a certain faction, I on purpose never mentioned what is coming.
You did a good job, Leo. You did a very good job. And this will be out in November. So this is coming for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And it is, as has been talked about, plastic. You'll see it's a big piece. It's not a small piece. This is going to be a $129 retail, but I shouldn't say but, and you are getting just an insane amount of plastic and detail here.
I don't know if you guys can see the torso from where you are, but it literally has eyeballs and eyelids that he's got a series of hands pulling those eyelids apart so that they can see. Anyway, it's
what nightmares are made of. So
Just a regular Friday morning for spies.
Yep.
And the assembly is surprise.
Oh, sorry, I jumped too fast on that one. Should I go back? Now the cat's out of the bag? No, we'll stick with this one now. Another gorgeous piece. I mean, crazy.
So I take it you guys recognize this.
3 different head designs are coming with this beast. 3 different ones. And a separate Hold Ray who rides him. And looks a bit like Scrooge.
and with some polished rules to come with its new look. And some of you will have noticed that this Ray isn't very lively, the one that is up top right now. And of course, it's part of Agum it being eternal doesn't matter. You earn your right to have a dragon. Your Drake is going to ride you around even after death. But there might even be a way to have a living Ray.
Oh, you broke up with that last piece, Leo. You got to say that again.
Oh, and there is a possibility to play a version of that Ray being very much alive on top of that Drake.
Very good.
Yeah. So the dead rider is the riderless version, and you'll be able to pop him off and create space for the Hold Ray who will ride it. Do note that he will not be sitting down because no self-respecting Gueron would be sitting down while marching to war. No.
And Reese, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a November product as well?
It's a December product.
Oh, it is a December. Okay.
Yeah.
this is how the Dwagom duel seed. The final scene of LC.
Yeah.
And then we will have a City States Founders, The Last Stand. It'll be the first City States Founders exclusive with a diorama theme, 4 resin miniatures. You can see there the Aristarch, the Polemarch, Dorilatus, and the Minotaur.
This is taken straight out of childhood memories, I have to be honest. Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. There is a little bit of that.
And next we bring you a holiday special. And Leo, do you want to talk a little bit about the play between these two naughty and nice gentlemen?
Yes, I do. So I think it was after the Angry Chicken, the Abomination. We did feel, of course, that for this year we had to do something as well. And what says holiday season most than an epic battle between 2 known characters? So our Jolly and Mean narrative scenario pack features our 2 characters battling over gifts that one has to fight in a tug of war, in a literal tug of war, first blood game, to see who's going to keep the gifts, who's going to save the day, and who's going to save this festive season. And the sword is called the list. Just saying. Maybe
what happened, Leo? You kind of broke up there.
And maybe in the rules, the sword might be referred to as the list. So
you're so happy with that one.
Where did you go, Leo? What happened?
These scenarios make me very happy because it says people. It's the only time that I can come. I can say all the crazy ideas that would never go through this office, and so people will be like, okay. I mean, it's like along with you, it's my season gift that I get. So I get to have that.
JJ, you have a question.
Hello. Yes. Going back a bit, the it may have been mentioned, I may have missed it, I apologize if I did, is I just want to go over Lord Vargirl there. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. Is that Conquest's first actual character model in-game? Like,
No. I have to admit to something that I, the usual thing. It's Vargir Lord, not Lord Vargir. So, yeah. No. Named characters are not coming for a few months. I mean,
you
don't know when named characters are coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Mute yourself, Stavros.
I know nothing.
Oh my goodness!
I'm just here for the ride. Ignore me.
Yeah, Caleb, this is not a convention exclusive. This will be available on our website and through retail through FLGS. We have had fun with this one, to answer your question, and we want it to be available. But, and I want to preface this, it is, as it notes, a limited edition. We're making it essentially one time. It'll ship at the end of October to be available for November and early December sales, and then that's it.
This epic battle, 100 Kingdoms versus Spires, Sale Green and Nick Klaus are going to fight it over for who's going to save the day or who's going to destroy the day. Let's see.
All right,
what is the sword's name, Leo? Sorry, there.
Okay.
Wait until you hear when he switches to his fists. And the fists are named Dancer and Prancer. And this is even better.
And this is why I keep him out of the lore. Okay, if you were wondering, this is why I keep him out of the lore.
All right, well, before we go completely down a terrible path, I think
I was trying to think of names that would tattoo well in the fist, but after a point I was like, it doesn't matter anymore.
One little bit that I see a couple of questions regarding the werewolves. People notice that their faces are not traditionally basically lupine werewolves like. That's because they're technically not werewolves, even though that's what we call them. They're werwargs. And the wargs are a horrible, nightmarish combination of every horrible apex predator the Spires could put together. So there's bat, there's cat, there's bear, there's wolf. So that's why that particular art decision was taken.
All right, you have your hand up.
It's not because we do not know what a wolf looks like. In our defense.
You have a question? Nope, he took his hand down. Oh, now he's raised it again. You're on, JOTADG.
Hey, greetings everyone. I have a few questions. One of them is regarding the lore slash art book slash sketches.
We are not.
You mean Daryl's pet project?
Like nope, shutting that down today. Oh, you'll have to tune into another happy hour for that conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you said you had a couple of questions though.
Yeah, well, besides that, I loved actually the new miniatures, and I was curious about the RPG. Maybe we have a chance of having something nearby. Oh my God, wink, wink.
Not yet. Tune in to another happy hour coming soon. Weekly happy hour. No, we can't do that. Oh, my Lord.
No, they want us to die. They just want us to die. It's like, no, we don't care.
Happy to expand our library. Thank you very much.
We've been preparing this one for months.
It's so amazing.
Thank you.
Strap them to a nuclear reactor and tell them to go.
So, with the discussion of wargs, I noticed that the Fenrir Beast Pack on the eShop have been renamed to Fenrir Beast Pack Wargs. Are wargs typically shapeshifters among the Nords and come in different varieties? Is that what I'm to infer from that?
So the lore you actually get the lore with the Vargir, the wargs, the werewolves, however you want to call. You will notice that we are rather imprecise with names in general because we want to link it to myth and to link the whole how unclear things were back in the day. But effectively, much like you have the Ugurs, who are the children who inherited the Einherjar, they're descendants of the Einherjar, who inherited their strength, their brawn, but not necessarily the full measure of their gifts, not necessarily the full grace and power that made the Einherjar. The Vargir, or the werewolves, they are descendants of a particular Einherjar who had the ability to shapeshift. They inherited that ability, but that is only unlocked when descendants of him with the right, we'll call them genes, are actually exposed to warg DNA. And that only happens if you get bitten and by some bloody miracle manage to survive. So that's the rise of the, let's call it the myth of the werewolf, that, you know, they bite you and you become infected and you transform. It's actually that you always had the potential within you, and it is it's the bite that sort of starts the cascade effect. And the problem for them is that they lack their forefathers' control, so they're continuously triggering this transformation, which is why they regenerate, because their body always resets to its sort of original state, healing wounds in the process, but also consuming a stupendous amount of calories, which is why they're ravenous, and all of these clearly rumors of cannibalism and consumption of corpses on the battlefield have arisen. Purely hearsay and rumors.
Ben, you have a question.
Oh.
All right, if you guys can hear me all right, I did have a quick question. I might be reading too much into it, but in the Jolly Mean narrative scenario pack, it says Deist Priest. Are we getting separate rules for that? Because at the moment we only have the Theist Priest.
Oh, somebody spotted it. Well done. No, it is currently just a tongue-in-cheek reference, but yes, the churches are going to be expanded.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Sure. Jotadd. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce that any other way, but you're up. I guess maybe he pushed the flight attendant call button without needing peanuts. So we'll go to Dogs of Paint.
Yeah, my bad. There's a misclick.
No worries. Dogs of Paint, you're up.
Good evening. Just a quick question. The Desolation drones got a rework, when I thought it right. Can we expect them to arrive in the next couple of months, maybe? Because some more drones would be, yeah.
Not the next couple of months, because this takes us through January. However,
the next couple of months after January, on the other hand, the Spires might be getting some of the DLC they unfortunately were missing for the first 3 quarters of this year. Guys, we apologize. It really is not easy to balance a new release and all the old armies and new releases. So it, we try to avoid it as much as possible. But yes, the Spires will be getting some love coming up.
Okay, thanks, and good evening.
Thank you. Carlos, you're up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations for this mini. These minis are awesome. I really love this game. I have a question about with the addition of Eidolon and the Inquisitors, we will have a new rule for city-states, like a faction rule for them, a sub-faction rule specific for them.
Not yet, but we are definitely building in that direction so that somebody can build an academic, a religious, or a demagogue city-state. We are definitely building in that religion. Nice. in that direction, but we need to bulk up the army more before it really sustains having 3 different channels.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. And Pham, you're up.
Thank you all for good night, but I still have a question.
Please.
I have a question for Vagia and Hera. Why his status now? Is he dead here or he's falling? So he's best inside like many of his kind now, or?
I'm not sure I caught the
Yeah, I
2
didn't follow
individuals
that
that you're referring to. Sorry about that.
My meaning of falling is he turning into the best.
Oh, the Vargir. The Vargir Lord, you mean?
Yeah. So what is his current status now?
My sound's breaking up.
Yeah, I didn't get that question either. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you could type it for us and we could get it.
Can you type it for us? It might make it a little bit easier.
And we'll give him a minute to type, of course.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the 3 sub-factions, if you will, for city-states that also cut out apparently for someone?
Oh, yeah, no, we absolutely intend to be able to field, for players to be able to field. Right now, what you're effectively fielding is sort of a league army of the city-states where it's a little bit of everything. But in time, when we have the full armies out, probably with 1 or 2 more units that you guys don't currently see on the army list, it will be possible for us to create basically sub-factions within the city-states that will play in very different styles with, the Skolai leaning more into the technology, the demagogues leading into like alternating buffs between the, let's call it the bread and human units, and then you would have the religious city-states interacting with basically the faith of their god, their elite units to empower their troops to go, beyond mortal limits. And frankly, our idea is to slowly do this with pretty much every army so that eventually Duegom can play, I want to play a clan army. I want to play a pure ardent army. I want to play a pure tempered army.
And so the question...
Yeah, there we go. I think I got Bushido's question or Brushido's question before he asked it. We're not going to limit this only to the city-states, but as they fill out, everybody's going to have sub-faction armies, but you need a certain critical mass of models, otherwise the rules feel empty. So it's in the plan, it's in the works, and we stagger our releases in such a way to allow you to do that. But it's slow going. There's a lot of factions. We've got to fill in a lot of holes, and we've got to add the new factions. We just created 2 more factions, by the way. So we're now officially up to 24 factions in the world.
Liam.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Leo.
To answer a quick question, any plans to do a skirmish mode like old school more time? So definitely you're gonna find a lot of league play, a lot of narrative right in our new pack, and later on we're gonna be giving a lot of us into specific into how you can expand your characters and your troops. But the kind of gameplay that you're referring to, that old school more, where is the entire game is focused on those 10, 11 individuals, right? And each individual gaining all of these skills is not yet in our plans for now.
Liam.
Hello. Just a quick question about the First Blood and Last Argument starter sets as to whether you plan on updating those like every year or so as new models come out, or whether those will just be solid for a while.
Nope, there will be new one-player starter sets. I wasn't planning to say that yet, but
almost got you there.
There'll be something special coming up. You'll see that to be at a happy hour later on.
Gotcha. Keep up the great work, everybody.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Is there a possibility to see Weaver Court models in the future? We believe me, Weaver Courts are definitively in the future. Don't worry, they're not forgotten in any way, shape, or form. Scott, stay tuned next October to the October happy hour where we go into OP Season 3 in some detail with campaign work, and campaigns and OP usually has terrain. So lots of stuff. I think we're kind of winding down. We've been an hour and 45 minutes. You guys have been amazing. Seriously amazing. I cannot thank you enough for sticking through all of the stuff we had to show. That's why we split it into two. There's too much going on to share with you all in one shot. So thank you. This is the end of the new models. If we weren't already aware, we ended up with Christmas. But we're very, very excited to see you all back here in October in a month. For those of you in Europe, make sure you go over to Freak Wars if you're in Spain, Hammer Time or Octagon in France, or see us in Essen at Germany. You'll see Hunter at the Crucible in Orlando and at Michigan GT here in the North American world. So lots of things. And Joey's coming up at St. Louis later in November. So, yeah, we're out and about. We hope we get to see you in person wherever possible. Where in Essen? It's at Spiel. You can't miss it. Spiel is at the Messe Essen. Believe me, if you go to Essen during the first week of October, you will not know that there's a gaming convention. There'll be at least 100,000 people there. You won't miss it. So,
hold on, Daryl. Quick interruption. The question was typed out. What's the Einerjar Vargir's current status now? Death, missing, or turning into? Vargir was a brother to the Greymane. They both went up north. Only one of them returned. He claims his brother is lost. He's being obnoxiously ambivalent about it.
But
sorry. Just to clarify. Not that I clarified much. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of lore stuff that we can't give away.
Yeah, we can't.
Vargir was losing control when he went up north with his brother. We'll leave it at that.
And LVO is 24, so I'm not even counting the 2024 scenarios yet, gang. We're just talking still 2023 with all of the events. Lots of fun things. So stay tuned. See you next month. See you at the show. Have a good night. Thank you all very, very much.
Bye, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. It's been amazing.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.